Hi everyone, welcome to the Natural Treatment of Arthritis Institute's presentation of the 7 natural treatment approaches to help arthritis. I'm Dr. Marcus Chakos, chiropractor, wellness expert, author of the life-changing book The Arthritis Solution and founder of the Natural Treatment of Arthritis Institute. In this webinar I'm going to discuss 7 natural treatment approaches to help you with your arthritic pain, the discomfort, the inflammation that is there. I'm going to take what we've already learned in the preceding webinars deeper because we've already discussed and understood that there are ways that can help you with arthritis. Now what we're going to do is give you a broader picture of those elements and an understanding of how they can be used in your everyday life to experience better health, energy, a greater quality of life, to remove those limitations and the suffering of arthritis. So stick with me as we go through this process of understanding how we can manage our arthritis even more effectively. Once again, we start with an understanding what is arthritis, and we've addressed this in detail, so I'm not going to spend a significant amount of time here, but suffice to say, we know arthritis from the Greek means arthro meaning joint, itis meaning inflammation, making it an inflammatory condition that affects the joints of the body, as well as other areas and systems of the body, including organs. You already know this because either you or someone you know has arthritis and experiences the inflammatory or pain process of arthritis, the joint limitation and range of motion issues, and as well as the emotional impacts that it has. And that's why we want to share this information with you. We want to bring to you cutting edge information about how the natural approach to health can enhance and improve your health and quality of life in respect to arthritis. And tonight in this program we're going to discuss 7 natural drug-free ways to treat the symptoms of arthritis to live a better quality of life. As you know, I'm a chiropractor, and chiropractic is one of the cornerstones of what I use within my practice to enhance and help people with arthritis and improve their quality of life. So we discussed in the preceding webinars that there are ways to improve your health and quality of life, and chiropractic has been one of those. Equally, we evidence that there was research about the fact that chiropractic improves and enhances the quality of life with people with arthritis. And what I want to do here is give you a description of exactly the steps that can be used and broaden that process so you can understand what to look for when you're working with a chiropractor and what aspects that the chiropractor may and can use to give you the highest and best results. And to start with, chiropractors use a wide range of therapeutic techniques, and there are many different adjusting styles. So when a chiropractor sees a client, they're working primarily with the bones of the spine. They may use the peripheral joints, and a good chiropractor certainly will. And in addition to that, they're working on the nervous system. But to do that, to work on the spine, there are many different ways that you can use. For example, most chiropractors have an understanding of what is called manual adjusting. And this is, while it's not an accurate term or description, where the bone is adjusted and you get that cracking sensation. And just so you know what that sensation or that noise is, when two surfaces are tightly bound together and you separate those surfaces, just like if you have a film of water between 2 sheets of glass and you open that up, it gives a popping noise because gas now rushes into that area that's been previously occupied by a film of water. Or if you squeeze your hands together, and obviously you can't see this, but I'll make the noise. You squeeze your hands together, you cup them, and when you separate them, you get that popping noise, and that's gas rushing into that area. Now what's happening there is the popping noise is the release, and we call that in chiropractic a neurological response, a release of that tension within the joint, and that creates changes within the nervous system as well as the mechanical structures of the spine. And you can imagine if you've got a joint that is tight, bound together, an arthritic joint in particular has inflammation within it that suctions the joint together, and that's why you get the limitation of range of motion, the discomfort and pain. Then if you can open and release that, you get a greater range of motion, you get what's called a neurogenic response, a nervous system response that facilitates the healing within the body. You get greater movement, decreasing the level of discomfort or pain, and therefore chiropractic has that impact and effect on the spine and nervous system to enable you to be more functional, healing better, and therefore feeling better. Now that's what a manual adjustment can do. There are also other adjustive techniques such as an activator, which is a little gun-like mechanism or machine that you apply gentle forces to the spine and to the mechanics of the joint. And again, that has a very similar effect, but it doesn't provide the popping or the clicking, and that's fine. We certainly use that as a technique as well. And there are other techniques such as network within chiropractic, where you're using the reflex points of the muscles in the spine to create a deep relaxation response. And so the first thing is, it's not so much about the technique the chiropractor uses. All of those are valid, all of them are helpful, and all of them produce a healing response. What's important is to recognize the philosophy that the chiropractor comes from, and the fact that they're emphasizing that the body can heal, that there is an innate intelligence within the body, and that innate intelligence, which is the same intelligence, by the way, that governs the fact that your heart beats without you ever having to think about it. That while you're asleep at night, you breathe without having to be under conscious control of having to breathe. That's innate intelligence and inborn wisdom. And the chiropractor, truly focused on healing, recognizes that there is also this innate intelligence in the body, and that it directs in innate intelligence to create healing within the body in respect to arthritis and degeneration. Excuse me. And when the chiropractor brings that philosophy into it, the technique is an extension of that. So we know that the chiropractic research supports that it can influence the arthritic client tremendously, in fact very powerfully. And it is not so much the technique, because all of these are valid, it is the philosophy that they hold. There are additional adjuncts that the chiropractor can use to maximize the benefit of the work that they do with the client, particularly as it relates to arthritis. And the first of those is trigger point therapy, which involves easing the pain of muscles in particular when applying a gentle pressure to the area of where the patient or client feels the pain. So for example, if you have arthritis in your neck and into your shoulders, then yes, we adjust that area of the spine, liberating the movement, creating the better feeling of healing and function there. But there's also likely to be muscular tension, and so trigger point therapy loosens those knots of muscle to facilitate the adjustment and create a deeper release in the area. So incorporating and integrating these within the practice provides a very profound impact. The chiropractor will also introduce the importance and the role of stretching and exercises. Again, we've spoken about this previously. We need to increase the range of motion of the joint, the flexibility, as well as the strength and the ability of the tissue to move for a longer period of time, which could be endurance. So, the astute practitioner, and in particular chiropractic, will incorporate movement to ensure the tissue is healing more effectively, that you're gaining tissue function. There are additional modalities such as ultrasound, or they can use any number of things like an APS machine, which stands for Action Potential Simulator, and laser. There's all of these modalities that they can use, hot pack, cold pack, as is appropriate, to enhance and extend beyond what is being done within the consultation. And ultimately, when a chiropractor applies these techniques, healing begins at a very rapid rate. Now, as I said, I want to take these points further as we talk about each of the modalities, such as chiropractic and diet and nutrition, as we'll go through here in these 7 steps. So what I want you to understand as we talk about chiropractic is what most people don't understand about chiropractic. The majority of people think when they go to a chiropractor, well, I'm getting my neck cracked because I've got neck pain and the arthritis is sore in the neck. Nothing could be further from the truth. Well, what is actually happening when you go to the chiropractor is the chiropractor is working, as I said, through the spine, but on the nervous system. The nervous system governs and regulates all function within the body. Without a nervous system, there is no function. And an example is if you become, not if you become, but if somebody was to become a quadriplegic, all 4 limbs are paralyzed by, say, a broken neck or something like that. And what happens is, obviously you have no control over your limbs because of severing of the nervous system. So we know that the nervous system governs and controls the function of the muscular system. Your muscles don't move because the nerve supplies, the nerve communication to those muscles is interfered with or interrupted. Now, it doesn't stop there. If you remember, and it's a very sad story, but Christopher Reeve, Superman, when he had his horse riding accident, he did become a quadriplegic, broken his leg. He also had a tube coming out of his throat. That tube coming out of his throat was a ventilator. He needed a machine to breathe from because the nerve supply to his lungs and the diaphragm was interfered with, and therefore he's not capable of using the muscles of the diaphragm or the muscles associated with the raising of the chest for the lung to breathe. So if he can't use those muscles. If he cannot breathe, he's going to pass away. So the body needed support in that area because the nerve supply was not intact. So it was in fact the interruption to the nerve supply that led to an inability to breathe and the need of a ventilator. So he had a computer, a machine breathing for him. But it didn't stop there with Christopher Reeve because, yes, he was a quadriplegic. He had no muscular control. He had no breathing control. He also had no, and you may not have known this unless you'd really done some research on the process or observed some of his medical issues that were there. He had a bag put on the side of his body because he could no longer digest food because the nerve supply to the digestive system was failed and had failed him. There was the need for dialysis because the liver and kidney function under the control of the nervous system was deficient. His whole body fell apart. And ultimately when he passed away, do you know what he died of? Pneumonia. Even the immune system is under the governance and control of the nervous system. Without nervous system integrity, without the ability of the nervous system to govern and control the physiological processes of the body inevitably and eventually breaks down. And in this case, chiropractic governs and controls the nervous system. Now, the nervous system with Christopher Reeve was interfered with. You couldn't get the message through. However, people with arthritis, they have an intact immune system. They have an intact nervous system. And by adjusting the spine, you're removing interference to the nervous system and allowing expression of the nervous system in and through the body. And that is the primary purpose of chiropractic, is to allow the body to self-heal, to self-regulate through the nervous system. And when you adjust the spine, you are creating, as I said, that neurogenic response, that nervous system stimulation to express itself through innate intelligence fully and completely, creating that healing process. When people understand this is what chiropractic is and does, they understand why it is that chiropractic can be so effective, so powerful with people with arthritis. It is not just getting movement into the joint, although that does help. It is not just increasing the range of motion and the functionality of tissue, although that is important. It is the restoration of integrity of the nervous system and the communication of the nervous system through the body, creating healing. And with that healing, the body can regenerate. Of course, chiropractic isn't the only tool to help the body to heal. Massage does a tremendous job as well. Massage can decrease pain and increase range of motion in arthritic joints, as well as alleviate stress and anxiety and improve sleep. We've discussed this and we've understood this with the research that is there, but let's look at what in particular massage can be doing to help with arthritis and how you can apply that to gain significant benefit. Before I do though, there are some forms of arthritis that can be aggravated and certainly irritated by massage techniques, particularly if you've got a dramatically inflamed joint. You don't want to be stimulating or stirring that up with hyper movement or excessive movement because that can create aggravation. So be sure to mention the fact that you have arthritis and the pain that you feel and that you're not getting too much pressure during the massage to your practitioner. They will be responsive, but it also means that you need to take care to educate and help the client. So let's talk about the different types of massage and how these can affect the body, in particular as it relates to arthritis. Swedish massage is the most common and widely form of massage. This is generally called the relaxation form of massage. So there is a light, gentle pressure throughout the muscles of the body. The tremendous benefit of Swedish massage is, as I said, it relaxes you. That feeling of, I can stop, I can rest. Your body is at peace and at ease. You're enhancing the circulation, which is really important for enhancing the uptake of nutrients to the body, for eliminating toxins. And as you enhance the blood flow and circulation, you're also enhancing the lymphatic system. And the lymphatic system carries your mobile immunity through the body. So it's drawing inflammation and toxins away from areas of inflammation and damage. It's circulating cells to that tissue in that area that are going to create the healing, the regeneration and repair. So your circulation and lymphatic system is improved through the use of Swedish massage. Not only that, as I said, you get that relaxation response. So it's dispersing any stress hormones that might be present. It's releasing the tension that is in muscle that might be binding the joints closer together. It's undoing those knots that are there so that you can feel a relief from the discomfort and pain that is bound within the tension and the muscles that are spasmed. Swedish massage, when applied, creates that beautiful relaxation response, that healing response, and oftentimes allows people to rest more easily, sleep more easily, and therefore all the tensions and stresses that are present in a person, as well as the emotional tension, just dissipate, and that can obviously be profoundly beneficial to you. That doesn't stop with getting a practitioner to work with you. You can actually do self-massage, which also brings benefits. Find the tension points, reach over your shoulder and massage the area at the top of the shoulders, at the base of the neck with your own hands. Use a tennis ball and lie on that, rolling it over the back area, allowing the tennis ball to rub into those areas where the tension is within the body. Massage using your fist down the sides of your legs to where the tension may be in your legs. All of these self-help massage techniques allow you to take that tension out of the body, to create a greater sense of healing, and to begin the process of your own repair. Once you've begun and integrated both chiropractic and massage, you'll be feeling significantly better, although it doesn't stop there. Exercise is also a very, very important element of helping you with your arthritic pain. There's an old saying that says, if you don't use it, you lose it, and this is certainly true. Now, what I want to talk about here is 4 specific elements, and we're going to discuss, that relate to exercise and helping you with arthritis. So it's important that, as you know, and we just said that if you don't use it, you lose it. Well, with arthritis, that's actually magnified. People will say, but gee, I'm stiff, I'm sore, it hurts to get up and moving. If you don't get up and move, that compounds the inflammatory process. Inflammation is like glue, it sticks things together. But life is also like demands movement. So if you have water in a bucket and you hold that bucket perfectly still, all the water will settle at the bottom of the bucket. You know that. Equally, if you swing the bucket side to side, the water sloshes up and down the side of the bucket, but it doesn't pool in the one location. But and that's exactly the same with the body. When you are immobile, when you sit still all day, the inflammation settles and pools at the bottom of an area, irritating and aggravating and that inflammation damaging the body further. But when you begin to move, you flush that inflammation around and it actually dissipates. And if you're doing these other activities, getting massage, for example, you're enhancing your lymphatic flow, you're enhancing your circulation, and that inflammatory process is being relieved throughout the body. So keeping mobile, keeping active is essential to good health. I know it might be there's some discomfort initially, there may be some pain, and I'm not saying work through the pain so that you're getting worse over time. I'm suggesting that you're going to need to do activity, limited initially and build up over time so you can cope. So what are the 5 types of exercises that can help to improve your health and your quality of life? Range of motion exercises, or what we're focusing upon is flexibility here. So this alleviates your stiffness and increases your range of motion. It enables your joints to go through to a complete end range of motion. And what's really important to recognize here is simple stretching is a good starting point. You may remember back when you were at school that you had to do warm up and cool downs before activities, or when you were a sports player, you had to do the stretching before and after sport. It's exactly the same. That mobility-based exercise increases the range of motion and it gives you greater freedom of movement, as well as releasing the inflammation and therefore dissipating the pain. So let's begin with an awareness of the importance of stretching, and begin just like a cat or a dog does at the beginning of the day. You see them arch their back up and stretch. That stretching maintains their movement and their range of motion, as well as their mobility and function. So it's important for you to recognize the importance of stretching and range of motion activities and exercises. It's equally important for you to do strength training. Strength training isn't just going to the gym, although it certainly can involve that. Strength training is about maintaining your muscle mass, about building tone and condition. Now, in particular, We can be lifting your own body weight, for example, or although it can involve gardening activities, and it can certainly involve moving things around the house, so you can build strength in that way. But let's put it in this context. Strong muscles protect your joints, and strengthening them strengthens the joint's support system and therefore keeps the integrity of your bone longer. If your muscles are wasting, if your ligaments are stretching as a result of that, the joints become increasingly unstable, and that instability leads to excessive wear and tear, and therefore extension of the arthritic changes in the body. So when you tone and condition your muscles, you stabilize the joints, you support the ligaments, and therefore you maintain integrity of that joint, and therefore it doesn't damage as readily or as easily. And so strength training can, as I said, include certainly going to the gym and activities like that, but it can also be lifting your own body weight, just doing push-ups or sit-ups at home, leg lifts, squats, lunges. All of these activities tone and condition your body, and certainly so does going to the gym, and then therefore gives you the support and stability necessary to maintain integrity. There is also aerobic exercise or cardiovascular fitness, and what we're talking about here is elements such as going for a walk, or stepping up from a walk to a jog, doing the rowing machine, going swimming, anything that gets your heart working harder. And mind you, so can strength training get your cardiovascular fitness increasing as well. So when you do the aerobic exercise, your heart rate increases, you get the circulation through the body expanding. You not only do a great service to your heart and your cardiovascular health, you also maintain the flow of circulation around the body, the circulation of lymphatic fluid, and therefore general health, well-being, condition of the muscles, and also the movement that comes with freeing up the arthritic joints. Ways that you can benefit with arthritis that have been, again, both scientifically proven and also clinically effective include yoga. Yoga incorporates specific postures and movements that both stretch, strengthen, and condition your body. So it's incorporating each of those elements we've just discussed. It is really such a beneficial activity and exercise that it not only has that physical effect on the body, it also enhances your emotional mental state as well. Diet and nutrition obviously has a really big impact, and we're going to talk more about that. So I won't particularly belabor that point. And we've also spoken about vitamin D previously. We know we need to take good care of our body. I actually think, sorry, there's been a slide error there, but diet and nutrition is a really important part, and this is something else that you can do. So we have spoken about that, but I will, as I said, not belabor that point. So diet and nutrition is another one of the 7 things you can do to improve your health and your body, but I'm going to go through in more detail here. So we've spoken about the importance of diet and nutrition previously with the inflammatory process. We know that we need to get vitamin D. We know we can use inflammatory reducing agents like omega-3 fatty acids. Go back and review that last webinar, and that details that as well. But suffice to say, I want to talk about what are the trigger foods with, in particular, arthritis. There are certain foods that are what I call pro-inflammatory, and so we're going to discuss that here. Oops, sorry, it's playing with the machine. We're going to discuss that here. Arthritis is an inflammatory condition, and as an inflammatory condition, anything that is pro-inflammatory is going to aggravate the degenerative process. So we know, for example, that tomatoes are highly acidic. When you have tomatoes in an arthritic diet, you're increasing the acid and therefore the inflammation within the body. So we want to minimize our acidity. This picture doesn't necessarily show everything that is there, but it shows a great majority that is there. Red meats in particular, again, are very acid forming. Acid forming and therefore pro-inflammatory. That doesn't mean that red meat is necessarily bad for you or inherently problematic. It just simply means it takes a lot of food to digest. A lot of time to digest the food, and therefore can create the inflammatory response within your body. Potatoes and a lot of the starch foods also can be pro-inflammatory within the body. Wheat and gluten products such as oats and rye can also be aggravating for people with arthritis. The way corn is now produced, it also produces allergy response within people. Dairy, tea, coffee, alcohol, all of those are pro-inflammatory in terms of the effect of the body. Again, that doesn't mean that these are necessarily problematic as foods. It's just that people with arthritis may not respond positively to them. And again, the acidity of citric fruits may make that presence within their body a problem. However, the key thing that we want to talk about is processed and refined foods: fast food, junk food, takeout, and sweets. The sugar associated with the sweets are massively problematic and pro-inflammatory within the body. A lot of us have addictions to these processes, and it's really important to understand and recognize those addictions and manage those processes. Equally, and that can be a carbohydrate addiction or sugar addiction, caffeine addiction, and so we have these addictive behaviors, and we eat these even though they're producing, or consume these even though we're producing the inflammatory response within the body. But to help you, let's bring together a couple of simple things you can do, because that's a global overview, and you might be going, oh my gosh, there's nothing to eat now. I'm not suggesting that for a moment that you need to cut out all of those, although that's probably a good idea. But I'm not going to get you to do that. It's more pertinent to start with, well, what is creating problems within my diet? And so you begin a small step elimination process. So say, well, what do I know is problematic? And maybe start with sugar and say, okay, let's just eliminate sugar. So no sugar, except for natural sugars like honey, maple syrup. You may use stevia as a sweetener in that case, which is a plant-based sugar, a natural sugar as well. So the white sugar, the cane sugar, even those synthetic sugars like aspartame need to be eliminated. Let's just start with that process. That means no biscuits, no cake, no lollies, no ice cream, no confectionery. Just eliminate those and do that for a week or two. What happens within your body? Notice a change. Then start eliminating refined and processed foods like white flour. We've already eliminated sugar, so white sugar and white salt. Replace those with wholemeal flours, whole grain flours, alternative flours such as rye, amaranth even. And then take out the white salt, as I said, and replace that with, say, sea salt or Celtic salt. And you'll have noticed, again, you'll start feeling different. There'll be some changes. And they're the two big global changes. And then add to that, and okay, now no more fast food, no more takeout. I'm going to prepare my own food at home. No more packaged food, nothing from a bottle or from a packet. And once you've done that, you can say, well, I'm not completely limiting my diet. I'm simply taking out foods that aren't necessarily helpful or beneficial. So we haven't removed potatoes, we haven't necessarily removed red meat, or even tomatoes for that matter, or dairy. We are simply just being a little bit more judicious and in fact old-fashioned about how we eat. You might say, well, I'm doing a lot of this already. I have to have a fairly healthy diet. And so if you have introduced this, now start taking it a little bit further and say, well, what are the key triggers for my inflammatory process within my body? It might be tea or coffee or alcohol. Eliminate that. See what happens after 2 weeks of eliminating that. Do you get headaches? Do you get withdrawal symptoms? If you do, it's really important that you recognize that and see that there is both the addictive behavior and the very likely the inflammatory process. Once the addictive behavior subsides, ask yourself how you're feeling, what's happening within your body. And perhaps you can just cut it down to one drink per day, one wine in the evening or one coffee to start you off in the morning, just so it's not so traumatic for you. And then start looking at some of the other foods. For example, we might find that wheat is a problem. You say, well, I'm not going to change anything else, I'm just going to take wheat out of the diet. And when you take wheat out of the diet, what happens? And maybe reintroduce it 2 weeks later and then note, do you get digestive pain or is there some discomfort? Do you find yourself tired and cranky or headachy? As you introduce that food, you know that it may be problematic for you and therefore inflammatory for you. And so you go, well, I will keep that out of my diet. And then you might say, well, I'll take tomatoes out now and see what happens. And you notice no change at all. You've been growing your own tomatoes for years. They're not actually that acidic when they're homemade, and so you say, well, I can keep tomatoes in my diet. But if you come off tomatoes and you notice that your hands aren't as sore, that there isn't as much pain there within your body, well, I think it's best that I keep off those. And what else do I need to look at and take out of my diet? And then you might take dairy out. You might find that that runny nose that you thought was a cold or flu starts to dry up, and that you didn't have a runny nose after all. You had a dairy allergy, and so when you reintroduce dairy, you notice that you get this runny nose and this sniffle again. And so you say, well, I'm going to keep that out of my diet. But you may not. There are plenty of people that don't react at all to dairy, and therefore it's not a problem for those people. So you take it out of the diet, no change, you reintroduce it. So you don't have to be completely restrictive. You can find out what is problematic, what is not problematic, what is part of the inflammatory process and what's not. What I also recommend people do is they become quite strict and follow a fairly strict diet, and we cover this in the Done For You Arthritis Solution Program, where we actually go through in complete detail the anti-arthritis diet, the anti-inflammatory diet. So please avail yourself to those resources as well, and certainly the Arthritis Solution book covers in some detail those issues as well. But suffice to say, here in this free training, I'm wanting to give you some ways and some tools to be able to manage your own diet. But as you take things out and put them back in, observe what happens and make your choices based on that feedback and information. The next is stress management. And again, we've spoken about this in the research shows that it enhances people's health and quality of life. We've spoken about previously, but I want to take through some strategies here that will enhance your health and quality of life and that you can actually take away today. So we're going to spend, in fact, probably the next 5+ minutes talking about some techniques that you can use that will break this cycle of the arthritis pain creating an upset, the upset creating the stress aggravating the arthritis. We want to break that pattern. The first is common sense, which is again not always common practice, is rest. Now, it's important that you get enough rest. Nearly everybody is overworking in today's society, whether it's overworking at home with children, overworking in their job, or even now that they've retired, they've got the commitments with the children, the grandchildren, they've got the charity that they do, and their life has become very intense, in fact exhaustive. Or ultimately it may be that they've been exhausted through years and years of work within their profession, within their home life, and that overexertion, that overcommitment has resulted in their exhaustion and the continuation of the stress within their life. So it's important for you to recognize, to heal you need to take time. To heal you need to create that space where healing is possible. And there are two parts of your nervous system, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. The sympathetic is your fight or flight response, your activity response, your doing response. That's the adrenaline coursing through your body because you've got to do work today, you've got to get the kids' lunches done, and this may be in the past, but it's, the hormones can still be present in your body now. You've got the kids' breakfast done, you've got off to work, you've had to clean the house, and then you've got out into the garden, or you may have gone to work, you get up, you go to work, you've got deadlines, you've got responsibilities, you've got commitments. All of this produces an activity response in your body and causes the body to be active and mobile and doing and doing and doing, and that produces a stress response in your body, and that's governed by the sympathetic nervous system. The relaxation response is your parasympathetic nervous system, and that's actually when the healing takes place. The two systems aren't switched on at the same time. You're either doing or you're resting, and that's why you can't easily necessarily swim on a full stomach, because your swimming is your going activity, your doing activity. That's a sympathetic activity. Your digestion is done by your parasympathetic. It's also your relaxation and healing part of your nervous system. So what's happening if you go for a swim? You're tensioning between the two systems. I'm trying to digest and relax, but now you're trying to swim and be active, and the two systems are in antagonism of each other, and that can lead to some cramping because the energies through the sympathetic nervous system meant to go to the muscle, but through the parasympathetic system it's meant to go to digestion and healing, and so the body can go into a cramp process. Now that's why the two systems are opposed, to either keep you active or allow in the rest process for you to heal, regeneration, repair, and even digest. So you do need to switch off in order to heal, and that's the key distinction. The parasympathetic nervous system is part of the healing process. The rest is what triggers the parasympathetic nervous system. And I'm not talking about sitting down in front of the TV watching a CSI episode. I mean, I don't even know what's on TV at the moment. I don't watch TV, but CSI is I understand or believe a type of a show that has tension points in it. There's crime, there's problem solving, and all of these things. It creates actually a change within your nervous system. There's research that has shown that you cannot differentiate between what is perceived as you watch it on TV and actually what's happening in real life. So you're getting a physiological response while you're watching these crime shows as though you were in those situations, which is again a stress response. So you think you're relaxing and switching off and winding down watching these shows, but in reality you're producing the same hormones as though you're in a stress response. So when I'm talking about rest, you've just got to give yourself time and space, and it could mean that you're out in nature, sitting out underneath a tree. It could mean that you're sitting by a lake, taking time out and just resting and breathing and relaxing. But ultimately it's being free of the tensions and stresses of the everyday world, so that you can go, take that time, even if it's only 5 minutes every day, but I prefer 10 minutes as an activity of rest, just to allow your body to come to a calm state. Pay attention to what your body is saying, because so many people are exhausted and tired without even recognizing or understanding it, or in fact knowing it, but saying, I've got these responsibilities I've got to push through. The more you continue to push, the more inflammation and pain is going to perpetuate now and into the future. So listen to your body. Here are some specific stress slashing strategies. Again, we've spoken that herbs and supplements can have an anti-inflammatory effect. Well, they can also have a relaxing effect on your body. Things like valerian, skullcap, passion flower, herbs you can get from your herbalist or your local dispensary that can be used to create that relaxing effect. Cat's claw has also been shown as an anti-inflammatory to help with arthritis, and glucosamine, chondroitin, and we've spoke about those previously, but I want to also provide you 3 specific strategies for relaxing your body and your mind. The first is going to be breath work. Now, you'll learn this if you do yoga or if you attend a consultation with a practitioner that trains in these holistic methods. What I would like, though, is for you to take a moment now to understand how to do the breath work and practice it here with me. The first is we need to do abdominal breathing. So we put our hand over our abdomen, just below our rib cage, and one on our chest. When we breathe, our abdomen should raise and our chest should raise simultaneously. A lot of people, when they take a deep breath in, all goes up into their chest. Well, I want you to push your stomach out, not so you're bloating it and making it, extending in that way, but so that the abdomen raises at the same time with the chest. But I want you to take 4 full seconds to breathe in. That should have taken that full 4 seconds. You should now have the chest and the abdomen fully inflated, not sticking it and bloating it, but that full 4 seconds to breathe, taking that full breath. Not where it takes 1 second a sharp in-breath, a slow, prolonged breath. And then I want you to hold your breath for 4 seconds after you've done that. And then to release that breath slowly. So not going and letting it all out in one quick burst, but like slowly in, 2, 3, 4, and now hold, 2, 3, 4. Now slowly breathe out, 2, 3, 4, and again hold your breath, 2, 3, 4, and repeat this cycle. In, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. Count along in your mind with me. Out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. Count in your mind. You count. I'm going to be quiet. Great, you're doing really well. You might find that this is difficult to do when you first start, that when you don't have the muscle control, and just like any exercise, you need to develop that muscle control. You might feel like you're not getting enough breath in because your muscles aren't toned and conditioned enough to really breathe this deeply. Then just take another deep breath and start the exercise and activity over again and develop those muscles over time. That exercise is profoundly powerful. I assure you, it is far more health producing than you'd possibly even imagine. 5 minutes of breathing like that a day, preferably 5 minutes morning and evening, not only has a stress releasing effect, it also has an oxygenation effect on your body, creating healing and also relaxing deeply your body. By doing the counting, you're creating almost a meditative process of stilling and quietening the mind, so it's a stress releasing effect as well. Furthermore, what it does is there's a lovely saying that says, judge not the length of a person's life by the number of their years, but by the number of their breaths. It actually slows you down. It quietens you, and therefore has that profound effect. The next relaxation exercise I'd like to contemplate doing is a visualization exercise. And again, I want to take you through a very, very quick visualization exercise, but we'll show you how to extend this in a moment. And I want you to imagine, and you can do this on your own, however I'll take you through a beach scenario, because most people I've found like the beach. Obviously, if you find a beach a stressful place, or that you have negative associations with the beach, don't use the beach. Think of somewhere that is personally safe for you, something that you enjoy and does bring a sense of relaxation. It could be the woods, it could be by a river, whatever is your restful, almost a sacred place for you that you'll feel comfortable with. Use that as your visualization exercise, but take the elements that we're going to be discussing here. So the first part of a visualization exercise is getting yourself into that relaxed state. And again, I like to use that breathing to get myself into that state of peacefulness. Now closing your eyes. And again, I'm going to go through this quite quickly, but just to give you the point. You close your eyes. I want you to see yourself in a calm, peaceful state. Relaxed at the beach. I want you to look around. I want you to see the beach. I want you to see the beauty of the ocean, the beautiful water, how it looks and how it makes you feel. I want you to see the sky and the horizon and the trees that may be on the beach line behind you. I just want you to take all of that in and be at peace as you see the beauty and serenity of this amazing location. I want you to walk now along the beach, down to the water. I want you to feel the sand beneath your feet. It's warm and how it creates that feeling of separating between your toes. I want you to feel the sand. I want you to feel the warmth of the sun upon your back. And when you get to the water, I want you to feel the refreshing coolness of that water as it washes over your feet. Now, take a deep breath in. I want you to smell the ocean, the freshness, the sea air. How fresh and alive it smells, how invigorating it smells. And there's a wave that's coming up and it splashes up against your shins, and some of the water from the ocean splashes upon your face just gently and lightly. It's refreshing, and it just has that salty taste in it. And again, you taste that saltiness of the ocean. You're not drinking the whole of the ocean. It's just splashed a touch on your lip, but you can taste that saltiness. And hear the ocean, the waves as it rolls onto the shore. Hear the breeze as it blows past you, and even a call of a bird in the background. Feel the peacefulness as all of this washes over you. Now I want you to come back, bring yourself back to your room, back to your awareness here. Opening your eyes when you're ready and bringing that peacefulness with you into this moment in time. Feels great, doesn't it? Now, what I want to point out in that particular circumstance and situation is that in the visualization exercise, you saturated your experience with all of the senses of your body. You heard the sound of the waves. You felt the earth beneath your feet and the sun upon your back. You smelt the freshness of the air. You tasted the salt water, and you were able to use your vision to see the sight, and all of that created the relaxation response. That is a profound, powerful process to create that relaxation and to bring it into the state with you. As I said, your mind cannot differentiate between truth and lies of what you perceive in your mind's eye. Think for a moment for those people who've been at home alone and they've heard a noise and they've freaked out and they've called people and they're hiding under the bed or they're walking around with a bat. And it was all imagined. And well, we pray that it was all imagined. And it was all imagined, but you still had the stress response. You still got the tension in your body. So you create something in your mind and it becomes real. And therefore, if you go to the beach or the river or the woods or the forest or wherever it is for you that's relaxing, and you spend time in that space, seeing it, tasting it, touching it, smelling it, hearing it, feeling it, you're creating that physiological impact within your body. And that not only switches off the stress response, it triggers the healing response. And then finally, as I said, you do the relaxation breathing. You do the visualization activities and exercises. And then you begin integrating and doing those within specific activities, such as you're lined up at the bank or at the shops. You can do the resting exercise of breathing in that situation. You start when you get your points of tension within your day. There may be some difficulty in a relationship, there may be time deadlines, there may be conflict situations. All of those enable you to take a moment to breathe, bring in the relaxation response, and quiet and still your mind so that you can deal with it more effectively, so you can switch off the stress response and activate the healing response instead of the tension that's produced. So by doing these activities morning and evening, doing them in situations of tension and stress, you begin to enable yourself to create powerful change. The third strategy, though, I do want to say is affirmation, and that's repeating statements of powerful and positive healing, such as I'm getting better every day in every possible way, my body heals, regenerates and repairs. Those positive statements the body understands and believes and acts upon when you say them with conviction. You have to feel them, you have to hear them. Far better saying those than, oh, I'm so sore, everything hurts all the time. The body hears that and acts upon that as well. So affirm that your body is healing. Take these steps to creating healing within your body. And as I said, we can also add supplements to the process of reducing the inflammation and regeneration. Cat's claw, omega-3 fatty acids, glucosamine, chondroitin, SAMI, which is a particularly powerful substance which can help reduce inflammation and pain within the body. Go to your local health food store if you have to, but I'd prefer, because if you go to a practitioner, they will give you the right remedy for you. They will give you practitioner only quality supplements. A lot of the ones within the health food store are synthetic, filled with binders and fillers, and you don't necessarily know what you're getting. Oftentimes with supplements, you pay for what you get. Pay for a good quality supplement with a practitioner only range brand, you're going to be getting a better quality ingredient, a better quality supplement, therefore therapeutic and physiologically more effective. So alternatively, when we go through specifically the Done For You Arthritis Solution Program, we actually can help you in that regard by putting together a specific supplementation program for you. And as I said, the omega-3, so supplements can certainly help as one of the powerful tools for regenerating and repair. Next, as another health producing tool, is the acupuncture. We spoke about the research being behind this and 4,000 years of the effectiveness of acupuncture working with both arthritis and many conditions, and it can help to ease the symptoms of arthritis as well. And what I'd particularly like to talk about with this is how it works on the energetics and meridian system of the body. Now, when we discussed chiropractic, we spoke about exactly how chiropractic supports the nervous system, and the nervous system governs and controls healing and function within the body. Within the acupuncture philosophy, there is what is called a meridian or energy line throughout the body. And these have been mapped and verified using technology and techniques of the modern era. And certainly, as I said, they've been there for 4,000 years in the history of traditional Chinese medicine and acupuncture. And what a meridian is, an energy line that carries the energetic flow throughout your body. And these channels can become interrupted with stresses, with physical pain, with physiological dysfunction, and therefore it stagnates or blocks the energy. What acupuncture does is opens this channel to allow the flow of energy through the body. And stagnant energy pools, just like a stagnant pond pools. If you have a river that ceases flowing because maybe it needs rain, and then you get these stagnant pools, well, those stagnant pools harbour bacteria. That's where the little buggies and critters start to live, and obviously you can't drink that water, and it becomes almost a toxic a cesspool, if you like. And obviously that's unhealthy, and stagnant water, as with stagnant energy, is unhealthy. And when you create the flow of this energy, you facilitate the healing within the body. The body is an energetic system as much as it is a physical system. And with the stagnancy of the energetic system, you feel tired. That blocked energy can lead to damage to tissues. But equally, when you allow the flow through those energetic channels, and that's what acupuncture or even shiatsu or Touch for Health and kinesiology provide, then that flow of energy washes over the area of damage. And that creates the flowing on of the inflammation, the reduction of the pain, the ability of the body to heal, and therefore you feeling better. So acupuncture is a very profound and powerful technique that you can use, that you can go see a practitioner to work with to help you with your degeneration, your inflammation, your arthritis, and your overall health and well-being. So when we think about those 7 steps, can you imagine if you were to combine those in an integrated form? You begin with getting a regular adjustment from a chiropractor, exercising, taking time out for rest and relaxation, having a massage, eating the right foods and supplementing appropriately and supporting that with acupuncture. Can you imagine how healthy, how much improved you're going to be if you were to take those choices, make those actions as part of your everyday life? Before I finish, I want to share with you exactly what that could mean for you. And I want to share with you a story. And in fact, I really am so profoundly moved every time I share this story, because it was such an important learning curve for me. And this is, I'm going back probably 15 years ago when I was with a client who had arthritis with this story. And so I want to share it with you. And I want you to put yourself in the situation that you've come into a consultation with me, that we're talking about your arthritis. And I've said, look, you can, not just prevent arthritis, but you can manage and alleviate the pain of arthritis. You can probably even do something more profound and powerful than that. Well, and you said, well, I've just been told I can't do anything about my arthritis. I've got to learn to live with it. And, well, let's have this dialogue. And in this case, it was actually a 40-year-old gentleman who had some significant arthritis in his hip and lower back, and it was impacting him quite dramatically. And so imagine yourself in his situation. He says, look, there's nothing I can do about it. I said, well, you can produce a healing response in your body. And he says, how? I've been told I just have to live with it and take anti-inflammatories for the rest of my life. I said, well, have you ever had a bruise? And he went, oh, yeah. I said, did that heal? And he goes, yeah. I said, well, have you ever strained a muscle or a ligament? And he goes, yeah. I said, well, did that heal? He goes, yeah. I said, well, have you ever had a cold or a flu? He goes, yes. I said, well, did that heal? He goes, yes, but what's that got to do with my arthritis? I said, well, stay with me. Have you ever had a broken bone? And he goes, yes. He goes, you know this. You just took my history. He said, I was in a car accident when I was in my 20s, a major accident. I shattered my hips, my pelvis, I broke my leg. I was in that inverted sling for 6 weeks in a hospital. After they had to do surgery, and it was like this mammoth effort to get me back. And then I had to do occupational therapy and learn to walk all over again. And then I took months to be able to walk and to be mobile, and then I still had a limp, so I had to do physiotherapy for another 6 months, and I did that. And then I went to a gym and had a personal trainer to get my strength and my condition bank. I spent hours every day for a year recapturing my body so I could be functional again. And I said to him, and I paused, I said, when was the last time you did something for an hour or 2 hours every single day for your arthritis? And he looked at me after a long pause, a long silence, and he said, never. So, do you mean to say, he said, that if I take care of myself now the way I did 20 years ago after my accident, if I do something every day for my arthritis, that it can heal? And I think you already know the answer to that question. The body can and does heal. There are things that you can do today, now, and into the future. And when you do that, you begin to change your health, your quality of life. You recapture your freedom, your mobility. You alleviate the pain and dysfunction and reduce the inflammation associated with arthritis. And you do it naturally. There are so many natural approaches to treating arthritis. We've only covered 7 here. And throughout these 3 webinars, we've provided a series of information education to let you know that there is science that verifies this, that these techniques work, and they are powerful and profound, and they can give you the health and quality of life you deserve. When you apply these and their aids, they have the profound effect of reducing the inflammation and pain of arthritis. They alleviate that soreness, the aches, and all of the problems that go with arthritis can begin to be minimized, and the impact can be downplayed so that you have your mobility and your function and that you can heal once again. It restores, ultimately, these approaches, the healing mechanism of the body, and so much more. And that's why I wrote the book, The Arthritis Solution, to give you hope, to give you a sense of what is possible, what you can do for your health now and into the future. And that is why we've done and created the Done For You program, to take you step by step as a blueprint through that book and train you and work with you individually and personally so that you can recapture your health and your quality of life today. Please take a moment to go to the website again, to browse over the materials, to look at the resources we have available for you, and reclaim and recapture your life today. You don't need to live with the pain of arthritis. There are things that can be done naturally. I'd love to see you on the other side of one of my other books or training programs so that I can help you personally, work with you so that you can recapture your life today. I wish you every success on your journey. I wish you every success with your health. And I look forward to hearing your success stories because I know that you can do this naturally. This is Dr. Marcus Chakos for the Natural Treatment of Arthritis Institute. I wish you every success with your health and I look forward to serving you in future. Take care.